You don't have to wait for someone in IT to create a crystal report for you that takes 6 months and still isn't good enough. You can actually get this info by yourself using the new tools that are soon to be available, if not already. So, how do you make sure it improves financial reporting? It has to, because you're going to define what improved means. You're going to define what reports you need, in what format you need them, and make sure that it's in your SOW and your requirements. Let's see. Let me check the chat box. Great discussion going on there. Okay. All right. Is it realistic to expect our internal team to run a project like this while still doing their day jobs? No. You might have people on your team that have project management experience, but if they're also running your accounts payables department, or if they're also a purchasing clerk, this is too much to do on the side. You have to have dedicated resources, if not from the outside, internally. Now, we've had some clients that have created internal ERP teams that do nothing. They've had other jobs at the city or county or school district, but as part of this implementation, they are now going to be the ERP team doing nothing but ERP stuff. And that can be handy because these folks know the organization in and out. They know where the data is. They know the old system. They know their IT stacks. So when we come in as a third party PMO, if you as an organization have an internal team that's dedicated to ERP, it becomes obviously cheaper on you, but also more efficient for us, as long as they're good, and it makes the project run smoother. In other places, we've taken over the whole responsibility of putting together a project team that, again, is temporary. We're going to implement the system, go away. Um, but it's both, if done well, um, both options are pretty good. Okay, next question. Can ERP systems help with grants management, ESSER tracking, ESSER tracking, and compliance audits, or are those just bolt-ons? Grants management, yes. I don't know what ESSER tracking is. Probably some compliance reporting. No matter what it is, yes, ERP systems can help, and they can allow you to do grant management. But it depends on which one. Some have it built in. Some will ask you to buy a bolt-on or a third-party solution. And again, bolt-on is sort of an older term, with how APIs work today. Um, Most systems are able to talk to each other, and so you can buy a third-party grants management system, and reporting solutions for specific needs within your state, or again, whoever you report into. Audience question from Eric. Does Avero have an opinion if procurement prefers a reseller or distribution partner representing a multi-vendor response, or writing two contracts for a single RFP response? This might be for two SaaS offerings or SaaS plus an SI who does not resell the solution. It depends. We've done it both. We don't have an opinion on how it should go, because it depends on who the partners and the players are. It's been done successfully and it's been done unsuccessfully. Um, where the SI takes on the entire contract, meaning they're going to be the ones selling the product through their contract, um, there can be issues with um, sort of lack of oversight by the software provider. But I haven't really seen that, because if an SI is reselling SAP or UKG or Oracle, those big vendors will have a skin in they don't want to look bad, so they will have controls over the SI. I don't know if I'm answering your question, Eric, but not necessarily we don't necessarily have an opinion on which is better. What we tend to do is, when we release RFPs for our clients, those RFPs will give the providers the option of how they want to do it. Um, and more recently, we've only seen SIs presenting uh, their qualifications and the product they're bringing. In the demos, you might have both sets of teams doing demos. Most providers are like most software providers are better off doing their own demos, and the SIs can fill in with how they handle configurations and deployments. But I think product specific knowledge is better gained from the vendor itself. Okay, I like this question. What's the right level of involvement for a CFO in a project like this? Where should I lean in and where should I delegate? I think I think critical decision points, and more often than not in an ERP implementation, CFOs tend to be executive sponsors. Um, if it's a full ERP, and they tend to be the strongest voice. That's been my experience in the last 5 years or so. So where do you lean in? I think you have to be aware of what's going on, and you have to lean in on things like chart of accounts design. Again, reporting. There's certain kinds of reporting that you need. You need to be involved at those levels to really define those key elements that you think will make life better for you, make it more transparent for the organization. And other than that, as the executive sponsor, if you are in that capacity, you have to attend all of the status meetings, maybe not all, but the executive status reporting, and keep an eye on the risks. Because again, if the project goes sideways, it's typically that position that ends up being in the news. Okay, moving on. Now the next set of questions is from a chief HR officer. Question is, we have union contracts, multiple pay calendars, and tons of exceptions. Can a new system really handle all of that without making things worse? Um, Good question. And some vendors may have, some software providers may have better answers than others. But yes, you can. A new system can take care of all of these things without making it worse. But when you implement a new solution or pre-implementation, this is a great time for you to think about these things. Multiple union contracts, pay calendars, tons of exceptions. Is there a chance for you to clean up on those pieces without making the software do it for you? Meaning, is there good reason for why these complications exist? And if yes, yeah, then we'll put them in your recommendations, in your requirements. But as leaders, this is a great time. If you are taking on an ERP overhaul, um, it's a good time for you to think about why things are complicated. Can they be changed? Can we make it simpler before we ask a new piece of software to do these complicated things for us? So yes, new system can do it. Question 2 is, should HR lead the change management process, or is that someone else's job? That's a great question. You would think change, and you've heard me say these are not technology projects. ERP projects tend to be people projects, process projects, and then technology projects. So, being that they're people projects and being that HR is responsible to manage the well being of your people, should they be leading change management? Yeah, we've had some projects where HR took the lead on OCM. But do they have the right training, right? This isn't just um, regular HR, if I may say so. This is very specific change management related to this project. When projects like this get kicked off, the first thing people worry about is what's going to happen to my job. I've been doing this for 20 plus years. I know how to do it with this system. Why do they have to do it right now? And that's where change management that is deliberate, that is documented, that is practiced by trained professionals, someone that's been through pro-sci training or has other certifications, that's who needs to handle change management for you. At least set the strategy and the tools and the tone. And then HR, if you have the bandwidth, because again, this isn't something you decide. This isn't something to sort of start and forget. You have to be deliberate, and you have to do it um, throughout the project. So yeah, if you have the resources and the training, go for it. You can do it. Okay, this is a good one. What is your advice for CHROs that don't want to get steamrolled by finance and IT in these projects? It's interesting. I went to speak at a major vendor's sales kickoff. They wanted to know how to appear or present better to our client base, how to win more, and we do that with all vendors that ask us. By the way, this isn't just for that vendor. So in that session, a lot of questions were around why CHROs don't get a seat at the table or why they don't drive these procurements. That's not entirely true. If a city is going out for an ERP, for an HCM or HRIS system or workforce management system, then yeah, the CHRO or the HR director is in charge, but they lean heavily on IT. They'll lean heavily on the CFO for financing. And if you are a CHRO who don't want to get steamrolled by finance or IT, this goes beyond the system replacement project. As a CHRO, as the leader of the people organization, as someone that's responsible for the workforce, you have a seat at the table already. You should. And historically, most CHROs haven't sort of leaned in on that. They've been in the background in a supportive role. But a good CHRO, a modern CHRO, needs to lean in and assert that um, sort of equal footing. You're not any lesser than a CFO or a CIO. You need to be at the table when key decisions like buying an HRIS system are being made for you. And it's true. A lot of you get steamrolled by finance or IT because you think it's an IT project. It's not. Now, there's a lot of organizations across the world that are moving away or have to move away from PeopleSoft, for example, um, or SAP, if that's what you have on premise, ECC. If IT is running okay, let me rephrase that. I have seen where these projects are considered upgrades. PeopleSoft to Oracle HCM or SAP ECC to S4HANA. They are built as upgrades run by IT without the involvement of CHROs. How do you think that's going to go if you're not talking to your biggest departments, to the HR organization about moving from one older legacy HCM to another? You have to get the users involved. You have to get leadership from HR involved. And it is up to you, CHROs, to assert your place at the table. Because not all these products are the same. If you're letting IT or finance pick an HR product for you, they wouldn't let you pick a finance product. So it behooves you to lean in on your seat at the table, and drive it, especially if it's just an HRIS project.